But some of the figures in this book, like Edmund Burke, are world figures. Friedrich Engels is a very important figure. Malthus is a very important figure. They're better known internationally, perhaps, in some respects than they are in Ireland. Some of them are local figures of prominence in the story of Irish nationalism, such as John Mitchell or James Connolly, and others are less well known. And others exemplify a mood of the time, a debate or an argument of the time. They capture the time. Now, are we in Ireland used to talking about being intellectuals or having an intellectual life? I mean, certainly we have an intellectual life in our country. It is known through our novels. We have great writers like Joyce, like Yeats, like Beckett, but we also have made a contribution through events in our own country and writing and thinking about them to ideas about politics, ideas about culture, ideas about nationalism, ideas about freedom, ideas about economics. And the Irish example or the Irish story is part of the wider human story or academic story that needs to be told. I think I wanted to tell another version of Irish history within which ideas mattered. Sometimes we're focused on the lives of great men or the battles and so on and so forth, the great political events of the day. But also what matters are the ideas and debates that lie behind or underneath these, or that challenge these. And these two tell us an awful lot about what is happening in a society and how we might understand that society. One of the figures I look at is Jeremiah Newman, who from the 1960s was writing about a time when the Catholic Church would be in demise. He was a bishop, but he was also a sociologist, and a pretty good one. And he could see that the writing was on the wall for the kind of domination the church had over Irish society. So he was, if you will, writing against that, writing against the idea of this secular society that he knew would come, but he desperately wanted to oppose. I think Fintan O'Toole is the only living person in the book. Fintan O'Toole is an interesting figure. He wrote a book back in the 90s that has become perhaps the defining book in how we now consider crisis, and that is the book on the Beef Tribunal. That book essentially is about the challenge and crisis of accountability in Irish life. And if there's anything that's been playing out in our society, whether it's the debates about abuse or whether it's the debates about how the economy went wrong, accountability, political accountability, administrative accountability, business accountability is very much at the centre of this. And of course he writes every week under our noses, so perhaps we don't always appreciate him. But I think when we look back, on this era, he will be one of the figures who really captured the challenges this society was facing. Ireland has a distinctive intellectual history. There are clear sets of ideas that have played out, that although we're not used to thinking and talking about it in that terms, we have battles of ideas that are as clear and coherent perhaps as those that have played out in any other society, that you can create a map of these intellectually, that you can talk about these in a reasonable way, that you can understand Irish society better by looking at the patterns and trends, and that it is really, really worth your time investigating the writings of some of these individuals across their lives, because many of the things they write about seem to be pertinent to our society today.